Yo, what's poppin', everyone? It's your boy, Godified, and I just wanted to go ahead and bring you guys my first actual release version of the game's build for the Technomancer, which happens to be my main. Um, it's taken me a little while to get this video out. A lot of the reasons is the first couple days the game was out, I had some major hardware issues with my PS4. And I had to do a hardware swap for my hard drive, which I ended up having to go and get a new SSD to replace the HDD that was in there. So anyway, with that out the way, this is my combat medic, and I really love this. It matches my playstyle perfectly. It's not meant to do any high numbers as far as um, doing mass damage. It's meant more for team play. As far as solo play, it's also really good, but it's made basically for team play to help out with everything on the team. Um, yeah, I've gotten a lot of feedback from it from friends that have played with me that prefer playing with this build rather than the meta. So let me go ahead and just break into it, and you'll kind of see what I'm going with. So first thing I'm going to point out, I have high firepower given where I'm at in the game. And I also have high armor. Reason being is, again, this build is meant for survivability, and it's meant for team play. Once I break down and get into the skills, you'll understand a little bit more on what I'm actually doing with this build. But first we'll go ahead and we'll start with the weapons. So until I can get the legendary, I wanted to say exotic, but until I get the legendary assault rifle, I believe it is, that has the tier 3 cryo rounds and the tier 2 vulnerability. Forget the name of it. But until I get that, this just has to do. Has status power on it, which is nice. The long range damage isn't the best, but the double stack on Storm Whip is just stupid. It's really good, does great damage, especially with how much you're putting out with the SMG. It does dumb damage. Like, I had one run where just by this gun alone, and I don't run this as a main gun. Like, this is my secondary. And with this gun alone, I put out 20 million, and that was only when I ran out of ammo. So, yeah. But the bread and butter weapon to this is the Molten Idola. Stock, it comes with the Ravenous Locust, which, when you hit the enemy with a bullet, it creates a swarm of locusts that over a 10-second period just keep inflicting damage and weakness to the enemy and anything within 6-meter radius of the target. But it has an 8-second cooldown. That's not the major part to why I did this and used this weapon. The major part to where I use this is I put Scrap Grenade on it. The clip size is only 1, and the reload so far from what I've seen is the fastest with a 1.4. Now, with Scrap Grenade, as you can see, the damage that it does is 146,000 damage at level 48. The first shot after reload becomes an anomaly projectile. It's got an arc to it, so I call it the grenade launcher. What this does is turns the gun into a grenade launcher, which is phenomenal because it outputs so much damage. So that's a lot of the damage that we're going to be getting is off of that weapon alone on this build. The pistols, nothing fancy, just a Bolt and Thunder. I got it, equipped it. It is what it is. Now, onto the gear. The boots are god rolled for me. I don't run anomaly. I run strictly firepower, status power, and cooldown reduction. And we'll get into why I run these stats here after I explain the details in the gear. One piece that I will always run with forever, which is why these boots will probably end up being my tier 50 boots, is Phantom Dash. During combat, your roll is replaced by a dash where you can basically phase through enemies. If you've played Destiny, it's almost like the Hunter dodge. It's amazing. Um, I refuse to use anything else. If I'm on one of my other characters, my alts, I hate playing as it when I have the dodge. Soon as I get the option to put Phantom Dash on a piece of gear, I get it, and it stays there, and it never leaves. Dum Dum Bullets came with the pair of boots, just an increase to assault weapon damage by 10%, which, and by the way, I'm sorry for that little noise in the background. I'm getting mad alerts from Twitter. But assault weapons are assault rifles, LMGs, and SMGs. So that right there is just a solid passive boost to any weapon damage outside other than that aren't rifle based or shotgun based. Gloves, again, taking these all the way up to 50. Bonus firepower, cooldown reduction, status power. Painful Chill applies 19,400 damage to all enemies affected by the skill. Soon as you pop Cold Snap, every enemy in the room takes 19,400 damage. Automatically. As soon as they're frozen, that damage is done to them. Which is nice because it pairs well with our skill leech. Doing so, you could be almost dead, pop this skill, as long as you're not getting shot at while you're popping this skill, because we all know things in this game happen that we have no explanation for. But every enemy that's struck will instantly bring you from no health back to full. Automatically. So this is a great way of keeping yourself self-sustained in any group. So then you have Freezing Boost. Obviously this build, as you can already get the gist of, is based off of freeze. Everything I'm doing is freeze based. So why not give ourselves another passive of damage boost towards frozen enemies by 15%. As long as they're frozen, every weapon, every damage source does 15% more damage. On to the pants. I will, when I get them, when RNG gives me the chance, will be replacing these with the Borealis pants. But for now, these will do. They have damage absorber. I will not take this class without my damage absorber. Reason being, it increases your armor by 41,979 and resistance by 10%, and that's at level 48. I love this mod for survivability. That is one major reason why my armor is so high. Then, excuse me, then we move on to the Robo Borealis. By the way, the head of the ward reviving an ally also fully restores their health can go. That is not necessary. It's one of the mods I wish on my gear I could get rid of, but I haven't found a replacement, so it stays there. It's not like it's a negative or anything, so it can stay there. But onto the Robo Borealis. Firepower, status power, long range damage. Long range damage isn't necessary, but it is what it is. Icicle Storm 3 is what we're here for. Killing enemies frozen by the skill makes them explode, dealing 163,404 damage in a 5-meter radius. If you swarm enemies around a boss, per se, one of the forget what they're called, the monarchs or whatever they're called. If you swarm the little enemies around them, the ones that chase you, the melees, and you pop your cold snap, you kill one enemy, they will all detonate, doing 163,404 damage in a 5-meter radius each. I have seen 20 of those little enemies, or maybe I'm exaggerating, swarm the boss's feet. I've popped it, killed one of them, and the boss insta-died from the damage that was caused by those ads. So, I love that. It's great, especially if you're playing something like Chem, like if you're doing Chem Plant, and the enemies are about to come out of the elevator. Pop the freeze, kill one of them, the whole thing will clear out. You will take down almost every boss in that elevator in one shot. Stand tall, again, it's a passive. We're never in cover. We're always out of cover, so it's a passive, and it's an automatic anomaly power and firepower boost right off the top. So, if you can see, as I said before, I plan to run a 3-piece Borealis. Once I'm able to obtain the 3-piece Borealis, which will be the head, the chest, and the pants, you'll get an increase of weapon damage on frozen enemies by an additional 10%, which is great. Also, your crit damage is increased by 90% for all party members for 8 seconds after the cold snap usage. This skill is spammed, so all your crit damage, all your skills that do crits will be almost doubled every 8 seconds. Alright, that is phenomenal damage. Then moving on to the headpiece, bonus firepower, skill life leech, and status power. Again, we'll be replacing this for Borealis when I get it. Long winter, cold snaps radius is increased by 66%. It's honestly not necessary, but it's so good because it basically makes the entire map get covered. Doesn't matter where the enemy is, they're frozen and they're stuck there. Bloodlust isn't a must. I keep it there just because I like it. If I kill stuff fast enough, I get a bonus towards firepower. So it only makes things easier. Go for trash. After you kill 3 trash, go after a boss, you'll get a bonus. It's nice. Especially using the grenade launcher that I have, the Essential Rifle grenade launcher, just makes doing more damage so much better. And that's the gear. So, with the rifle equipped, I'll go ahead and show my stuff here. My status power is at 143.2. Status power is, for freeze, it's just the duration. So we're extending our duration of freeze and vulnerable. Once we get into the class, you'll see what I'm talking about. So essentially, the more power that we have of status power, the longer the enemies are frozen. So this is a must. With the SMG equipped that has more, I end up getting 166.5% towards status power, meaning they're frozen longer if I have that equipped. So that's some good info for you. As you can see, all of my stats down here let you see all the stats. Alright, now we're going to move into the skills. Healing wave, or fixing wave. That literally just a heal. That's all it is. It's your heal. And as you read it, 33% of health to all players and 50% of health to your turrets. Self-explanatory. literally, that's a lot of the reason why we're playing this and why it's so good for group play, is because it's a heal. For those oh shit moments for your teammates, if they get dropped down in health and can't self-sustain, boom, you've got them. Next, Cryo-Turret. This is another self-sustain for us. It's not there for damage. It's not meant for damage. It's there because each time it shoots an enemy, you are getting skill leech. And that skill leech is going to keep giving you health while you're trying to do something completely different. Any way of getting constant skill leech while you're out in the open, especially I'm noticing in the higher tiers, is so good. So it's a must. And then we have Cold Snap. Self-explanatory. Freezes everything in the area. And it's wonderful. Basically, crowd controls everything. Does a little bit of damage. And very useful. I love this skill. That's why I've built around it. Now we'll go into the class. I've gone Tech Shaman. We've gone the obvious route of max health, gadget, skill cooldown by 15%. That's the turret, the heal, and the cold snap. Again, health. Toxic afflicted on enemies puts vulnerable status. That's not why we're here. We're here for this one, this node. 40% more effectiveness on vulnerability. Then we come down here. We're not here for the class melee. What we're here for is how long the freeze will last, and that's 20% longer. Then we move on. Enemies afflicted with freeze receive 10% more damage. Max health. Enemies that are below 30% health receive 20% more damage. With us not running a damage build, this helps just tremendously. Then we move on. Again, gadget skill cooldown by 15%. This makes 30% cooldown. Then, max health. This skill on the node, every time freeze is afflicted on an enemy, vulnerable status is inflicted as well. Then, vulnerable is now 40% more effective. So, when we cast our cold snap and everything gets frozen, now we have 40, 40, which makes 80% more effectiveness of the vulnerability. Then we go here, freeze afflicted on enemies lasts 20% longer. Between the two of these, 20% apiece, now we have it lasting 40% longer, which on top of our status power, the enemies are pretty much frozen the entire time they're in battle. Then you have the rest of it's mandatory. Increase weapon leech, 20% more additional armor, increase all healing by 20% for you and allies. Enemies afflicted with freeze now receive 30% more damage, which, if you pair this 30% with, I believe, yep, right here is 10%, that's 40% more damage. And with the mod we have on our gear, that gives us 15, that's 55% more damage afflicted onto enemies that are frozen. Then you have this, the final node on the tree. Activating a gadget skill increases your anomaly power and your weapon damage by 40% for 10 seconds. Anytime you use Cold Snap, throw your turret, or even heal an ally, you are getting 40% more weapon damage. So if you're good enough and you have your cooldowns fast enough, you can keep these skills active and keep that 40% damage bonus active throughout the entire process. And you can never drop it. Unless, of course, you run into that issue where you're cooldowns aren't high enough. Then you might lose it for a couple of seconds, but it is 10 seconds long that it lasts. Most cooldowns will be maybe up after 15. So if you pop your turret, throw that out there, and then you cold snap. You sit there, and then you heal after the cold snap is up, and then you throw your turret, and then just keep repeating depending on the situation. You can almost guarantee to keep 40% up the whole time. And then you get your oh shit option where you basically, if you drop below a certain threshold, you get put back to 50% of your health, which is great for the survivability. So that's basically the build. Honestly, it's beautiful. I've had buddies that have gone and played with randoms, and they've come back to me later on. They're like, man, it's not the same. Like, playing with you and playing with people that run the meta, it's definitely not the same. They love the crowd control. They love the team play. And, I mean, I lock down enemies. Like, if I walk into a room, I pop this. As soon as that's popped, you can see on the bottom how quick that cooldown is. Usually, by the time it gets to right here, about the 3/4 completed of the cooldown, is when the enemies finally come out of the frost status. And that's if they're not an elite and they break free automatically. Most trash mobs will be locked down in frost the entire duration, almost. So I constantly have rooms locked down. So I might not output the best of damage, but that's where this gun comes into play. That's where this gun comes into play and takes the compensation of me not doing much damage, because that explosion does over 200,000 damage or more per shot. So that gun, and plus the tier 3 mod that makes the enemies explode, and all the other bonuses that I have towards firepower, allows me to stay on top with good DPS if we're carrying somebody. Like, if I'm in there with another person who doesn't have like the most gear, I'll be able to stick with that major DPS and carry them, and plus keep everybody alive. Whereas if I'm in a team where both people are running meta and I'm running this, they will be easy, or they'll have an easier time killing everything while I have everything frozen in place, and I can literally just do whatever damage I have to while they're just tearing everything apart. And that's fine with me. I don't play for major DPS. I only play for support. And that was the purpose of my build here. So, if you don't like it, oh well, I don't care. If you do like it, let me know. I mean, as I said in the description of everything, I'm only trying to build it up even further. It's been wonderful so far. The survivability is great. And usually I'm the one picking people up if they end up going down or if they get too cocky. Other than that, it's my playstyle. It suits me well. I've always been a person of being up in the shit. I've always been the person people always called the medic, because I'm always that guy who doesn't care how many bullets are coming at him. I will go in and res my teammate. I don't care if I die or not. I'll get my teammate back up, or I'll keep you alive. So building around my ability to be able to keep my team alive and keep the run active is basically the point of why I did what I did. So, anyway, with that being said, I really do hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will be trying to make more build videos once I'm able. I have 2 characters now that are in challenge tiers. This one, and I also have my Pyromancer, which I'm currently trying to build. Both of them are in challenge tiers. My Trickster's like level 15, and my Dev is in the 20s, like 23 or something like that. So I'll be trying to also get some builds out for those. Again, I'm not following metas, so I'm trying my own, my own stuff to get things popping. So if that's what you want, if you want to follow something that's not following the meta, the bullet build or whatnot, then yeah, I hope my content meets expectations. And to the big time YouTubers that watch this, at least give me some kind of credit. I posted a video during the demo, and shortly after I noticed at least 12 different people that are bigger names than me. I noticed they went out of their way to post almost the exact same build that I used, doing the exact same thing that I did, and didn't even give me credit. I'm fine with that. It is what it is. I expect it. I do. As a little time YouTuber, I do expect it. So, anyway, with that being said, I'm getting phone called in, so I have to go handle some business. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video. It's your boy Godified. Yo, what's poppin', everyone? Just a quick reminder. In this video that you're about to see in the background, I had just gone into a random queue. They were already ahead of me anyway. It's on a tier 14. They had already made some advance up, so you're just going to see footage in the beginning of me running to where they're at. I don't think they made much of a trek before I got in here, but anyway, I wanted to give you guys some raw footage of the actual gameplay. This was taken after I got a new helmet that had firepower, cooldown, and status on it, which is what I was looking for. So you're going to kind of see more of an updated build than what I had previously shown, but by not much more. All it was a replacement of the helmet. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. I just wanted to give you that real quick feedback during this so you knew what was going on and what to expect. Anyway, I'm out. Later.
There's a sealed gate leading to the monument. Doesn't look like Kang had any luck breaking through. Must be gate's open. Whoa. The pack sure knew how to impress. Tiago, the monument's clear. I got the pod.
You did it, Outrider. And Kang's fighters are on the run. For the time being.
Outrider detected. Access granted.
Back in our lands, interfering again. Haven't you done enough, Outrider?
If you're still alive, clearly.